The Federal Dream Act is a piece of legislation that has been proposed. I believe it came out in 2006. I'm not 100% sure on the date, but it was brought forth, and the idea would be to give individuals that do not have legal status in this country, that maybe are attending high schools and have been here for a period of time, if they graduate from high school here, if they then don't get into any trouble, if they pursue a degree and finish and obtain some degree, either a 2 or a 4-year degree, or go on to military service and serve some level of maybe 4 years, 2 to 4 years in the military, and are honorably discharged. At the end of that time, again, if they were able to complete those obstacles or hurdles at the end of that time, then they would have the ability to obtain citizenship within this country. Well, I'm kind of new to this. I didn't understand the situation very well. I've taught for 6 years, and I have dealt with some individuals that may or may not have had legal status. I mean, I've always kind of approached it, it's none of my business. If I happen to find out about it, that's one thing. So just within the last 6 or 8 months did I really educate myself, to their plight, to the situation that they face, I guess you'd say. And so when you really start to examine it, when you really start to look at it, you realize that in many cases these individuals are here through really no decision that they've ever made, and they've grown up with us, with kids in our schools, and they've they've been here, they've grown to love this country just like everybody that spends any kind of time here. They come to the same conclusions. And you find out that once high school ends for them, they don't have any options, or at least no options that anybody else would want to have. So, you really you start to realize that it isn't fair, and we live in a land of opportunity. We seem to be a beacon of freedom around the world, but some people, even within our own country, don't get to experience that, and I just think it's wrong, and so that's what got me motivated, I guess. Well, mine, I guess, just to keep trying to let everybody know what the situation is. I think there are a lot of misconceptions out there when it comes to undocumented citizens. I think there's misconceptions about the fact that they don't pay taxes, which is totally untrue. There's all sorts of misconceptions. I think there's misconceptions that when you see somebody of a Latino background, that they're instantly, people label them as illegal, and that's not true either. So I guess my personal agenda is to try to get rid of some of those stereotypes, and I certainly am not working alone on that. I've kind of joined a movement that was in existence long before I ever became involved. So I'd like to grow the movement here in Nebraska. I'd like to get high school kids that feel similarly to get involved, and and it's beyond that too. I mean, as an educator, it's not just this. I think that there's, among all kinds of students, there's just this, tendency to not really inform ourselves about anything and work for anything. And I think that my job as a teacher is to get kids more involved, not necessarily to think like I think, but if they hear about this and they agree with me, great. If they hear about this and disagree with me, then that's okay too, because that's what makes our country great, is that we can have differences of opinion, and we can work toward different things, and come to compromises, and continue to build the great society that we have. So that's kind of what I'm out for, I guess. Well, the group, I wouldn't necessarily classify them as my group. We started a group of students, myself and Tricia Wiseman has been involved, and Bree Kelly as well. As we've got some support from other teachers as well, but those are the active members. We're a small coalition of kids. We meet on Tuesday mornings, or attempt to when we can, and again, we're just trying to tell the stories of kids that maybe fall into this to needing something like the DREAM Act passed in order to be productive members of our society. So we're meeting and trying to spread the word as best we can, tell stories, all the above. That's what we're out there to try to do, just really get the word out as to what's going on. Because I just think there's so many people that just don't know. They don't really know. In Nebraska, I am not aware of any that are affiliated with what we have started. There may be other schools that have, groups that are working, but right now we are we're fragmented at best, I would say. And I think one of the goals going forward for our group would be to try to get different school groups in different communities all working together for a common cause. We started a Facebook group, which is really easy to do. It's nothing profound by any means, but we started a Facebook group, and that group has continued to grow. We've seen some jumps, some major jumps, and then we've seen some slow growth. But as you look through members of those groups, it's not just people in O'Neill. We've got members from Grand Island and Madison and other locations. The hope would be, as we were to get more organized, to try to start similar organizations that meet regularly in those school districts as well, to just again try to raise support for a piece of legislation like this. As community members, I think at its core, the best thing that the community can do is to become informed about the issue, to really study it and understand that here in O'Neill, Nebraska, that we have a Latino population, and this affects them and their family members, not all, but just to become educated to the fact that those Latino members of our community are taxpayers just like the rest of us, and even those that may not be citizens are taxpayers as well, and understand that their children didn't have a choice in coming here, but they are here, and they're being educated here, and they're going to graduate, some of them, from here, and when the time comes and that graduation occurs, they don't have any options, and that isn't right. So I would hope that you would become informed, and then I would hope that you would make your feelings known to the people that represent us in Washington, and let's, I think in Washington they spend a lot. We spend a lot of time talking about things, but there are things that can be done. Whether it's immigration or tax reform, all kinds of things that, regardless of your politics. I think that there's some of the people's work that isn't being done, and there's some real things like immigration that we can all agree on, or many of us can agree on, and it's time to get some of those pieces of legislation passed. So, talk to your senators.